Hello everyone, if you would like to find out what higher power light seekers, tarot light seekers, what the higher power think about us, because man, human race is terrible. We're still not awakened. We're still cannot conquer evil doing. We are still in darkness. So let's figure out when the war in Ukraine will end, what will help, how the higher power sees the war, and it's getting nowhere. It's getting more brutal, more bloody, and it's getting nowhere so far. But we know that from the stars, it is more visible what's going on. Oh, Ace of Wands. And the High Priestess. Amazing. Ace of Wands talk about beginning. Aces are always beginning. Beginning of energy, beginning of our moment, epiphany, beginning of realizing what's going on in real life, and see before the dawn, we've got the darkest time. The High Priestess, it is a power of wisdom. When the war will end, number 2, maybe 2 months, maybe 2 years. Number 2 will tell us when the war will end. The High Priestess is the card that is seized by the moon. The moon in astrology talks about change, private way, pathway, unique private pathway. The moon talks about nourishing water, nourishing the water, because the life begins in water, right? And water has everything we need to survive, actually. So the priestess, the High Priestess, tells you and me that it is time for all of us to overpower evil, to get rid of evil. And this is why it's so difficult. It is the last war before the whole idea of colonies will fall, because the Russia is the last country that colonizes others, and they were trying to colonize Ukraine. In 21st century, it does not work. So this is empire, Russian Empire. We know that Russia as a nation is very small. It's like Moscow around the Moscow. But it's the biggest country in the world. It's 1/6 of the whole world. So it occupied many other nations, and it's also occupied neighboring countries. Just make neighboring countries weak so they can dictate them what to do. And Ukraine said enough is enough. So they put up a really bloody fight to win their influence, and basically not just influence, they wanted to swallow Ukraine and call the Ukrainian land theirs, right? That's what it is. I know because I'm from Ukraine. I'm Ukrainian Canadian. If you just came across accidentally my small video in this big world. Okay, 3 cards. Knight of Swords, the Lovers, and 7 of Wands. 7 of Wands in this deck is different than usually it is, because 7 of Wands in Rider-Waite deck, the deck that other decks take inspiration from, 7 of Wands is a card when you are trying to protect what is yours. But here you just, I don't care. They poke you, but you are meditating, so you're not putting any fight. It's completely wrong card, completely wrong. sometimes the person who created cards doesn't understand tarot that much. Well, it's still a revelation. It's still a revelation, right? Even if it does not correspond to correct tarot reading, it's still it's inspiration. It's an idea. Idea is that in the midst of fighting, in the midst of disturbance, you just keep calm and quiet. On one hand, it's good. We need to be calm and quiet and know that our truth and know that goodness will win. Yes, but on the other hand, what is this? So you don't care at all? I'm not talking of you. I'm talking of this card. I am calling this card you, saying you to the card. So a person on this card doesn't care at all? Just, I don't care. This is what you hear a lot in Russia. I've never been to Russia, but sometimes, you know, they just ask their opinion on the streets and they say, we don't care. We're apolitical. We are not political. And young people talking like that. So it doesn't matter to you. You eat food where they use wrong labor ideas, or your government pushes their way to the neighboring countries with weapons. You don't care at all. And how does it talk about you? So lots of Russians, they know they cannot change much, and we understand it, and we understand that it's, you know, there are lots of, I like military, inside military, that dangers. We know they cannot change much, but at least inside you are free. You cannot just say, I don't care. Or if you say, I don't care, then you don't care really. And it is scary. It is really scary. Because we know that we change the place where we are. If we all don't care, what will happen next? So that's just food for the thought. Knight of Swords. So they say the Russian soldiers, they say our soldiers. No, they're not. They're soldiers when they defend their country. But when they push their way to neighboring country with weapons and destroy, all Ukraine is destroyed already. And destroying and killing. These are not our soldiers, these are all criminals. These are all criminals, terrorists, and this card shows it. The Lovers. I know that, you know, we all who live in peaceful countries, we are thankful for that there is peace. I mean, Canada is lucky, the only neighbor is US, and US is not, is not going to do anything wrong to us, we know that, and that's, thanks goodness. But we all look at Ukrainian war, I mean Russia in Ukraine. They defend the Russia in Ukraine, that's what they say. It's total dissonance in their mental state. But anyways, we all watch this war, and we all think the freedom is not free. The freedom is not, it looked like it was free before this war. Because there are other conflicts in the world. There are about, I heard about 40 or 20 conflicts in the world altogether. But nothing is a conflict like in Ukraine. In Ukraine, conflict is about trying to colonize your neighbor. Nowhere in the world, no one for the past 60 years want to colonize their neighbors, unless Russia did it to other countries. Anyways, so the Lovers is a good card. Is a card of trust, love, appreciation of life, and the Page of Cups. These are young people pages, and cups as emotions. So we all have different emotions about it, but emotions will not win the war. We need to help Ukraine to defend themselves, because even hypothetically, in the beginning of the war, I mean, even hypothetically, if Russia would win, how would people in Russia feel? Like, you just conquered your neighbor who had no weapons, who actually, maybe you just English speaking of Canada or US came to watch my video, maybe you don't know. And I'll tell you that Ukraine gave up their nuclear weapons. No other country in the world gave up their nuclear weapons. And Ukraine just gave it up because it was pushed to, and without no guarantee. Without no guarantee. Anyways, when the war will end, this is a burning question, the devil card. I would say when the devil ceases to be, right? But on earth, this sort of war, I think it's the last such sort of war where colonization is going on, occupation. And the devil card talks about the devil, the negative energy. When the negative energy will cease, when the devil will cease. You know who is devil? I'm not saying because of the rules on YouTube. But it's interesting because I feel like, you see, I grew up in Soviet Union, we couldn't say a word. I hated this Soviet Union from the day I was born. I don't know why. Maybe my ancestors from Western Ukraine. But you couldn't say a word. You had to speak metaphor. So now we also have to speak metaphor. When the devil will cease to be, that's when the war will end. Unfortunately. Nine of Swords. A lot of sorrow now because there are lots of people who are displaced, a lot of victims, a lot of soldiers died, a lot of civilians in Ukraine paid with their life to freedom. And this is card of our sorrow, of our compassion to people who lost their life. Two of Wands, okay, the better card, because, you know, it's not devil anymore, that's good. Two of Wands is card of perspective, peace. Number 2 months. Someone of us will think 2 years, but I'll say 2 months, and the war in Ukraine will end. Maybe 2 months. Maybe 2 weeks. However, I doubt it. Four of Swords. It's time for us to defend democracy, to defend our freedom of will, our freedom to move where we want, our freedom of speech, our freedom of do whatever we like with our life. And again, it's a funny because it's Four of Swords. If you know Rider-Waite deck, it's so funny. This deck is funny because I mean the spread is not funny, but you know I want to make it light because we cannot just always be in darkness. It's not healthy for your mentality. Rider-Waite deck, the Four of Swords. A person is in the church. 3 swords are hanging from the ceiling, and there another sword across the body. Wow, what a dramatic card. So Four of Swords, traditionally, it's a card of don't stay there. It is dangerous. Your first right is to be not where the war is. So this is why we have refugees law in democratic countries that help the refugees. Don't stay there. Don't stay there where war actions are. Don't keep there your children. It's dangerous. So Four of Swords in this deck is just a nest of bird. There is a heart, and the person has protection. So I described you the true card. You can think of the other card that I described you, or you can think of this reading that is not Four of Swords. It's just a different card. So it's more like an oracle, honestly. It's called tarot, but it's just so this card, if you read it this way, it's a refugees from Ukraine, and thanks goodness the rich countries, the democratic countries help refugees. Thanks goodness. Poland, Canada, US doesn't take lots of refugees, but it helps with weapons and money. European Union, even Japan takes refugees, which is very unusual. Refugees, of course they suffer. Of course they suffer. I myself left Ukraine not from happiness. You don't run from happiness. It was a long time ago. I know what it is to start from zero, to have nothing, to be in a country where your diplomas don't work, where you don't probably speak languages good, where you have no support, no relatives, no one. I know what it is. It is very, very hard. God bless all the refugees, not only from Ukraine, but refugees who flew from other countries in pursuit to be alive. Let's take another card. Oh, Four of Pentacles. Finally, a good card at the end. Four of Pentacles, a blessing. It's financial blessing. It's money. It's money means that we do something. And the world gives us money so we can live. So that's good. Four of Pentacles is card of prosperity, stability. If you ask me about this read, Ukraine will be stable and rich country. You will see. You will see it. We will see it in our lifetime that Ukraine will be rich, prosperous, free, democratic. It's already democratic. Did you hear, by the way, I can stop, I'm sorry, because as I mentioned, I'm from Ukraine. Did you know that Zelensky, who is now so well known around the world, when he is, there was, how to say it? I don't know even, I don't have this English word. When he put his candidate himself forward for presidency, there was zero money spent. The only his promotion of himself was his interview to a journalist, Dmitry Gordon. This is just like, it's amazing. He just gave interview to Dmitry Gordon, who is great Ukrainian journalist. He gave interview where he said what he wants for Ukraine, and people voted for him. It gives me goosebumps to think that what's going on in US, how much money, what does Putler do to influence other governments with trillions of dollars. You see in France or in Germany, anywhere in the world, democratic or not, if you have people vote, those candidates spend trillions of dollars for promotion. There are thousands of volunteers help them to promote them, to talk about them, and they go door to door. They go to my door all the time here, pushing me to vote for one or another. Zelensky did nothing. He spent $0. He actually did the same as he said in his in the movie he played, right? The servant of people, слуга народа. He did the same. He spent nothing. He just gave interview to Dmitry Gordon in Kiev. And Dmitry Gordon didn't pay him, of course. He just interviewed him. And the revolution, the Ukrainian revolution, there were two Ukrainian revolution. One was in year 2003, I think, another to 13. I'm not sure. I think that's how it was. I might be mistaken. I'm not good with, I don't remember many things, sorry. One journalist, again journalist, one journalist in Kiev again, he said, we cannot allow Yanukovych, that's corrupted, Russian influenced president, tell us what to do. We want to be with Europe, we want to be with the world. Let's go out. And millions of people came out. My mother, who lived, 90 kilometers from Kiev, my mother, she was 70 years old. She was her friends, the same pensioners, traveled to Kiev to be on Maidan, Orange Revolution. This is, and I will cry, probably I will. I'll just stop this video because I'm about to cry, I'm sorry. The bottom of the deck, the world, the Ukraine will be rich, it will be a jewel in the world. So to see, my mother was in Maidan twice for the revolution. Everyone came out, and it was spontaneous, done by people. And Putler telling the world that Zelensky government and is captured the power in Ukraine. How bad it is. How bad it is. How can you twist? How more you can twist the truth? How this devil can more twist the truth. Glory to Ukraine, слава Україні, героям слава. Subscribe, feel free to like my video, to invite your friends to watch. And I'm very emotional, I'm sorry for my emotions. Take care of yourself, and together we'll take care of the world. Bye for now.